Stringfellow, is that you? I know we don't usually do cameras, but since it's just us, since it's, just virtual, if you would like for me to be able to see your face, that would be amazing. If you didn't put on your makeup this morning, you don't have to, whatever you want to do. Talking to you, Mel, but no, I'm just kidding. Um, um, okay, so today we're going through winning with buyers. So it's a super crazy market, and honestly, it's getting into a buyer's market. So y'all can hear me fine, right? You can shake your head. Good. Okay. Um, so we are talking about winning with buyers. So let me ask you, most of y'all are pretty new that are on here right now, so more people may hop on, but how many people have already worked with a buyer? Terrence, have you?
Yes, I have. Sorry, I'm on my phone and driving, so sorry about
No, you're good. Okay, you don't have to unmute that. I guess you can be safe. I'll
that. But yes, I have worked with the buyer.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we're really just going to go through this. Hold on one second. Let me close my door just so I'm not yelling. At everybody else who's in the office. Um, Let me see. I'm going to do side by side here. Can y'all see my computer? Yes. Okay, I'm going to assume yes. And I'm going to pull up where, oh man, I'm sorry guys. I had my slides up. Oh, here they are. Here we go. Okay. So first thing I really want to reset your mind around, or really set your mind around, is the mindset, right? And the actions. So this is not necessarily just about buyers, but real estate in general. And this is honestly where, like, we have to start every time, right? So I'm going to send you guys this slide, or you can take a screenshot, because I want you to actually do this exercise around if you do these things, or have you done these things if you're planning, those types of things, right? So time blocking and lead generating for 3 hours a day minimum. And so this is high activity yield tide results, right? So I will say the first time I met one of our agents, her name is Brandy. I don't know if she's on here. She's probably not on here right now, but the first time I met her, she's a single mom of 2, right? And she has another job. And she asked me, like, what do you think the odds are of me making 6 figures in this business with me having 2 kids, a single mom, and another job? And so my question is, can you give me 2 to 3 hours a day? Because that's what the Red Book says, right? So this Red Book, I want you to think of it as like your real estate Bible. Terrence, I didn't get you one the other day, but if you have come to orientation, you should have gotten one. And if you don't have one, next time you're in the office, let me know so I can get you one. But I will tell you, the top agents in real estate, honestly, lead gen for 3 hours a day, right? So Justin Lance is one of our top producers, and he lead gens for 3 hours a day. So that is my biggest takeaway. Oops, sorry guys. And so one of those hours is prepping, 30 minutes, right? Prepping who are you going to call, so that you're not sitting up looking at your phone thinking, okay, I don't even know who I'm going to call today, right? And just kind of fumbling through it. Take 30 minutes, go old school. Like, I still go old school, right? And write out my list, and then mark as I call, and circle when I get a hold of somebody. So anyways, 3 hours of lead gen a day, and you'll be ahead of 95% of real estate agents. And then, do you have your database of METs and past clients that you consistently follow up with? So that is something I tell everybody: just dump your whole database, right? We talked about that, into your CRM. And then I want you, next step, right, is to tag them as if you've met them or not. So just tagging them METs, because you want to communicate with people you've met versus strangers or people who you don't know very well. You want to communicate with them differently, right? So I have taken Ignite or Bold at least once. Bold is going on right now, so you may not be able to do that right now, but Ignite is going to restart. It's going to finish up actually next week, and then it'll restart in May. So highly recommend taking that. It's actually going to be something different. We're actually launching a new program for new agents called Breakthrough 120. So that is like 120 days of action, right, to getting into real estate action. So anyways, these are just some things I want you to look at for your mindset and your actions every single day. Change your actions and then getting the most out of this experience, right? So first thing we're going to talk about is leads to appointments. So I'll send you these slides again, like I said. But really, when you're looking at the buyer cycle, this is how it goes. And I know I was talking to a new agent the other day, and she said she was nervous. It's actually yesterday. She said she was nervous for somebody to say yes to her because she didn't know what to do next, right? And I will tell you, like I said, oh, what do you think happens next? And she was spot on. She knew, right? So just using use this, and then also using your kind of common sense to really okay, what would happen next probably, right? So once you have a lead, how do you get to an appointment? And when you're at that point in the seller cycle, then you go to the next step of prepping for your buyer's consultation. So, let me ask everybody this, and you can put it in the chat if you can't talk. What does everybody have their 3 lead sources? Like, what your sources are going to be. I see Camellia saying, yeah, Camellia. How can I say your name?
Camellia.
Camellia. Okay. I keep saying Camellia, and then I'm like, am I saying it wrong? Or Camellia, or okay. Okay, good. Well, I was right. Okay, so she knows her 3 lead sources. What are your 3?
My 3 are YouTube seminars that I'm hosting, and also local connections with businesses.
Okay, I love that. Okay, most people are saying no. Okay, so that's your homework. Okay, how to win with buyers is we need to have your 3 lead sources. So if you don't have the book, you may not be able to pull this up. But if you do, let me find the page. I want to say it's like 80. No. I'll find the page for you, but there is a list in here of where are your lead sources? What are the ways that you can get leads? So that what I want you to know is that this business can be overwhelming, and buyers, every single person that you pass on the street is a potential client, right? Nobody woke up this morning. Our Bold instructor says it. Nobody woke up this morning saying that they don't want to roof over their head, right? And most people would love to build wealth in some way. So how can you know that everyone is a potential buyer, but not get overwhelmed, right? So she knows her 3. I want you to pick 3. And if you do those 3 for 6 months and there's not enough leads, then maybe add 1 more, right? But do not try to get leads from every single source you possibly can, because that's just going to overwhelm you. And I want you to go deep, not wide, right? So how do you go very deep on getting buyers from that singular lead source? Like Camellia is doing YouTube, right? So that's going to be a longer game. However, when she's consistent for the next 6 months, I promise you it's going to work. It never doesn't work, right? So let me see. Okay, here we go. Lead generation. Let me go here to this page. So I'm going to read this from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent just because I think it's super relevant to right now. And when you're newer, because I know most people are on here, this is something that I think we struggle with: lead generating versus lead receiving, right? So nothing is more important to your sales career than prospecting buyers and sellers. To have a viable business, you must simply have the client leads. To have a business that pays you a lot of money, you will need a lot of leads. Funny, but some real estate agents miss the not too subtle point and end up spending their time on other less financially rewarding activities. I can't tell you why, but let's be perfectly clear about it in this book. No leads means no sales. We must have leads, and in fact, if it is helpful to you, you should think of yourself as being a lead generation business. Many will say, but I'm in a real estate business, to which I reply, fine, but try staying in the real estate business very long without any leads. If it makes you feel any better, please realize that all businesses are, in addition to their particular business, in the lead generation business. What you have to embrace is the fact that it is the number of qualified leads you have that will either grow your business, keep you in business, or put you out of business. Nothing else about your business will have as big an impact on the number of leads as the number of leads that you have. For this reason, leads becomes the first of the 3 L's. Without them, the other 2 are not nearly as important. So he's talking about leads, listings, and leverage, right? So when I taught the new agent sales training classes, I would sometimes start my class discussion on leads by asking the audience, if I told you that there was an out-of-town buyer who just got in this morning, who's going to be paying cash and needs to purchase a home by the end of the week, could any of you help them? Everyone would say yes, right? Everyone would raise their hand. Well, I can guarantee you there is a buyer getting into town today who has cash and needs to buy a house right now. The problem is we don't know where or who the buyer is. And that is the challenge of real estate business. In a preposterous market, there are usually many agents relying on passive lead generators, casual referrals, and luck to create business. I call this lead receiving. Unfortunately, real estate agents who are in the business of lead receiving may find themselves selling very few houses when the market shifts, which is right now, guys, right? Conversely, if you actively and systematically focus on lead generating through direct prospecting and marketing activities, you will always be doing the best you can, even in shifting markets. So in the battle of lead generation versus lead receiving, lead generating always wins, no matter what market. If you count on the market to deliver leads when times are good, you better count on it to take them away when times are bad. What is given also can be taken away. So anyways, this book is gold, right? If you haven't read it, just start like a couple pages a day because it'll really just get you in the mindset. And Gary is very blunt. I love it about him, honestly. He's one of the most blunt people ever. But so that's the first step, right, of winning with buyers is how are we going to generate the leads? And then we talk about lead conversion, right? So this is really what you need to think about when you're thinking about filling up your pipeline. So somebody unmute and tell me what you think a good lead is. Let me think of a good way to say this. Who do you think a lead is? How do you define a lead?
Someone who is willing, able, and ready.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just gave you a little bit of the answer. Casey, were you gonna say something?
You said what I was going to say.
So what my MAPS coach told me, our very first session, and I was already producing, but I wanted to grow, right? This game is a game of a pipeline, right? So a lead is someone who is going to buy or sell in the next 12 months. Doesn't have to be right now, right? They're ready, willing, and able. That is a right now buyer. However, that's when they meet in the middle, right? So maybe they're ready and willing, but they're not able, right? Maybe they're able and willing, but they're not ready. Maybe their lease isn't up yet, or they're waiting till they figure out if they're getting the job, right? So when you have just 2 of these, it's not a right now buyer. But if you know those 3 will exist in the next 12 months, then you have somebody in your pipeline that you need to communicate with until they are ready, right? So a lot of times when we first talk to people, only 2 of these show up. So that's okay because what you want to do, right, is talk to these people until the third one exists or until you get them there, right? So maybe they are willing and ready, but they're not able because financially they can't right now. How do you help them? Maybe they're able and willing, but they're just not ready yet. They're nervous. How do you walk them through that so that they're not anymore? So really you have to have all three. So I know I'm giving you guys a lot of homework, but the next thing in my head is we need to find leads and then we need a pipeline. So I want you to truly create it like a line on the calendar. And so your pipeline sheet should look like every single month of the year for the next 12 months. So starting in March, because if you're starting in March through next March, if you're talking to somebody who's ready and willing but not able, but they'll be able to in November, put their name in November, and that's a November closing that 3 months prior to that, you need to start having conversations, right? And start showing them houses, getting them truly ready, because that's a November closing. So you can really see it, and I want you to be able to see who you actually have working for the next 12 months so that you can truly build a pipeline and know, okay, October is going to be a slow month. I don't have anybody in that month. I either need to fill it or just be aware that when I'm budgeting, that month's going to be a slower month because I don't have anybody in that month, right? So that's what you're trying to find is people who are ready, willing, and able right now. And if they're not, how do you get them to have all three? So that's kind of the cycle of building a pipeline with your buyers, right? And I want you to physically be able to see it so that you can have comfort in knowing that those are the people you need to follow up with and not drop the ball on them. Because come October, November, when they're ready, they're probably going to buy. Is it going to be with you? So that will be if you follow up with them and make sure you're helping them get to that third piece that they're missing. So anyways, that's my spiel on there. So I would screenshot this and just remember that this is what you're trying to get people to, right? Is to try to be there right in the middle where they're ready, willing, and able. And how can you get them there, right? So that's what I always am looking for is if they're not willing, why not? If they're not ready, why not? How can I push them to the next thing? One quote I love is, it's not their job to buy a house, it's your job to guide them and get them what they want, right? It's your job to sell them one. So if their lease is up in August and you don't follow up with them until July, and now it's too late for them to actually be in a house by August and they renew their lease, life happens. It's not their job to keep up with it. They're just going to do what's convenient unless you guide them to the next steps, like following up with them in May and say, hey, their lease is up in August. We really need to get going on this. When's a good time for us to meet? Right? Or what does your week look like next week? Let's get together so I can help you make sure that you don't have to renew that lease. Those types of things. Let's see. Okay. So these are the 4 steps for lead conversion. So when you're talking about a buyer, oh, I don't need to edit it. I need to do this. Can you guys see this? I think you can. So obviously, when you get a lead, step 1 is lead capture. And from there, how do you connect with them? How many of you have heard of speed to lead? Anybody ever heard of that? Okay. If you click on, yes, Courtney said yes. If you click on something online and it says, reach out for me to help you with this service, right? Let's say I want to get my hair done. I just touched my hair, so maybe think about it. I want to get my hair done. I see a girl posting on social media that she does hair. I reach out to her and she doesn't respond to me for 3 days. I'm going to probably, I'll be honest, I am a quick, when I'm like, oh my God, I need to chop off my hair, I'm going to go find somebody to chop my hair off. So if she didn't respond to me, I'm probably going to find someone else who responds faster. So speed to lead is honestly, if I could tell you guys anything, the most important thing in this business. Just like Amazon, you want immediate gratification, right? We live in a world of immediate gratification. So if somebody reaches out to you, I want you to have a goal of getting back to them within 5 minutes or answering your phone when they call. If you can't, if you see that call and they say, "Hey, I was just calling about, I have a listing, I have a house I need to sell, blah, blah, blah," and you don't call them back in 5 minutes, you have no sense of urgency for them, they're going to call the next person. So that is probably the biggest piece of advice I can give you is speed to lead. In this business, there are too many agents who take their time to get back. And even if you're busy, I don't care if you're busy and you have to call and say, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm actually stepping into a meeting, but I did not want to miss your call. Is it okay if we set up a time at 6 o'clock tonight to get back together?" That way they know that they don't need to call someone else, right? So, um, yes, so capture and then connect as fast as possible is my biggest thing because then they know you care and that they're not going to have to chase you because you're too busy for them. And even if it's a text message, like I know some people on this call have other jobs, right? Or kids. If you're at work, if you can just say, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm actually tied up right now, but I did get your message. Just really looking forward to connecting. Is it okay if I call you at 5 o'clock?" It doesn't matter if it's that, right? Um, so that would be the biggest thing I think for buyers or sellers, truly. My biggest advice is as fast as possible getting back to somebody so that they know that they're a priority for you. Um, this is kind of because we only have the hour, I'm like kind of flying through this, but um, so once you connect, then you have a couple of options, right? Based on this here. If they're ready, willing, and able, let's go ahead and close to an appointment, right? So this person calls and says, "Hey," sometimes you might get somebody that says, "Hey, I actually just got with a lender. I'm already pre-approved for this amount of money, and we want to buy a house in Bartlett." Okay, awesome. You might dig a little bit on what they need, but then immediately close to an appointment, right? If they're not ready, willing, and able, then you may cultivate till they are ready, right? Or close to an appointment to, and then close to an appointment after you cultivate for a while, right? So I have somebody who is wanting her lease is up in August. She reached out to me in December. I've cultivated that, got her with the lender. She's not ready yet because she's not able yet. So I have to cultivate that a little bit more. And then we're going to go to an appointment once she's done the couple things, right? Paying off the debt and doing a couple of things to get her pre-approved. So I'm not going to meet with her until she's really ready because that's just, you want to meet with them as close to it as possible. Yeah, Camelia, what's up?
Did you say that you connected her with the lender? Is that what you said?
I did.
Okay, so you did that before she was ready. So did you do that to see if she's ready?
Yes.
Okay.
So she said August, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is like December. I told her to get back with me I told her like let's connect again in like February.
Mm-hmm.
And that way it gives us time for if she has homework to do, then we can do that. And if not, we'll at least know, right? Because she's going to
Okay.
buy a house this year. We'll at least know that she is able. And February leaves us to where like we could look like, okay, let's get you pre-approved. We have
Mm-hmm.
90-ish days, right, to go ahead. So March, April, May. And then so if we found her a house in May and closed in June or July, then she wouldn't have a payment for, you know what I mean? It would kind of line up perfectly because you really do
Mm-hmm.
need that time to line it up with their closing date. So I'll go ahead and get them if they're not sure if they can buy. Now, if they're like, "Yeah, I'm for sure I don't have any debt, I have great credit, blah, blah, blah," then you can wait to get them to apply. But this girl, she wasn't sure. She's like, "I just bought a car. I'm not 100% sure." So I was like, you know what? Might be a good idea just to go ahead and get with the lender so that she can give us some advice if you're not there yet. And she
Okay.
does have too much DTI, right? So now she knows what she needs to pay off, and then we'll come back to the drawing board closer
Okay.
when she gets that paid off. Yeah. So I would talk to them about their situation. You know, do they know for sure? Like, yeah, it's not going to be an issue about me getting pre-approved. And if they're like, I don't know, you might say like, okay, well, our lender can also do like if they're worried about pulling their credit, right? Get them to do a soft pull. Like let them just do a soft pull where it doesn't affect your credit too much, but they can see
Mhm.
generally what you have, right?
Okay.
Um, and help you know anything we need to change around.
Okay, I have a specific question now.
Sure.
So I have someone who is interested in buying. She has some money saved, but she does know that her credit score is not where it needs to be. I think she says like a 545 or something like that. But she also has good debt to income ratio. So should I connect her with the lender to still, even though she knows she needs to work on her credit?
Does she know what she needs to do to work on her credit?
No, she doesn't know specifically.
Okay, I would get her with a lender anyways and say like, look, so Miss Patricia who sits out there,
Hmm.
she's great at giving them a plan. So I
Okay.
would say, hey, I just spoke to this lender in my office. I was telling her a little bit about your situation and that I was going to send you to her later when you're ready. And she suggested that I go ahead and get you with her so that she can give you some tips on how to build your credit up quickly.
Okay.
So yeah, because what they can do is she'll tell her a couple of things, right? So she doesn't have much debt, but maybe she can get a prepaid credit card where she can build her credit up, or maybe she needs to, there might be a couple of things where she could quickly excel her score, and Miss
Okay.
Patricia can help her, like give her a plan.
Okay.
So yes.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Hey, Linda, question.
Yeah.
Do you have like a Rolodex of like different lenders that you use, or do you just kind of go with the same one every time?
No, no. I do have a list, and I can give you guys my list. It's not a Keller Williams list, so don't hold it against Keller. It's my personal list. But all of the people that I use for a specific reason, right? So there's one guy who, in a former life, he was a CPA, and he's amazing at getting self-employed people pre-approved and using bank statement loans, right? So if you don't know what that is, it's like where they don't use your like taxes necessarily. They can use what's in your bank and what's coming into your bank regularly to pre-approve you.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so each one of them are work a different function. So I'll give you that list and who I use and why. Now there are a couple that like I use if they're pretty clean and it's like whatever, I might just use them, give them a couple of options. But if they have something special, then I like to send them to somebody who specializes in what they need. I can send you guys that list.
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Um, but yeah, so really and truly, like when we're talking about lead generation, guys, um, like I said, everybody is a potential client, but what you're trying to do is capture them. And then even if it's not time to close with them, yes, I'll send them to everybody in this call. Let me write everybody down actually so I don't forget. Um, do. Come in. Just give me 2 seconds so I don't lose y'all. Joe Melvin, Casey, Brock, Greta, Terrence. Okay, cool. Um, so yeah, I'll get you guys all that list so that you have those kind of in your back pocket. Um, and know kind of who to call for what situation. Um, but so the point of lead generation, right? You want to capture them, put them in your database so that you can communicate with them regularly. So even if they say, I'm 2 years out, that means they're not in your pipeline, right? So I think I've had the conversation with most of you simply, and it's easier said than done. But if you could do this, right, you would make six figures. So if you can talk to one person a week, have a meeting with one person a week, a consultation, that is going to buy or sell in the next 12 months, that would help you fill your pipeline, right? So even if you had really bad conversion rates, right? Even if only half of the people that you met with bought and only half of those people used you, you would still sell a house a month probably, right? So if you can do that based on our average sales price, you would make six figures. So I know it's easier said than done. I was talking to somebody yesterday and it was actually Gary Keller said this. I got to be in a mastermind with him the other week, I don't know, when we were in Atlanta. And he said, telling fearful people to take bold actions doesn't work, right? So if you're afraid to have the conversations to set the appointment, then let's work on what to say, right? And we have lots of resources. So Tia does conversation practice every morning. You can do it with an AI bot. So ChatGPT, how to have a role play with somebody, right? Do it with your friends or family. Um, so it is bold, right? And so it feels bold and uncomfortable. But you want to cultivate the people to get the appointment, right? So they're 2 years out. That's okay. That means you're going to call them quarterly for the next year and a half until they're ready. And then they have the ready, willing, and able factor, right? Um, and if they're ready right now, then you close to an appointment. So does anybody have any questions or like scenarios they want to go through? I feel like I've gone through a ton here. Yeah.
Hey, good morning. I just had a question, Linda, about you mentioned building your pipeline. And I think you said something about like in March, you may have that pipeline kind of built up, and then maybe October comes and you don't, and you may have to make adjustments. Can you kind of like explain a little bit better to me on how to build a pipeline of leads?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, truly what I want you to do is as you're having conversations, the two things that you need to find out when you're having conversations with people, which isn't even in here, but um, when you talk to prospects, and write this down, guys, because this is for any prospect, anytime. The two questions that you need answered by the end of your phone call is when and why. If they don't have a reason why, then when the process gets hard, you're not going to be able to push them, right? You're not going to be able to bring them back to why we're doing this. If they have no good reason, if they're just like, yeah, I'll buy a house if I find one. Maybe if I found a unicorn. If they have no good reason, I have one client who I don't even consider her really a client because she lives at home, she's single, she loves her parents. Like, there's no good reason for her to move out of her house, right? And so every once in a while, she finds a house that she kind of likes and she'll go look at it. And then she sees the payment and she's like, yeah, I just stay at home, right? She has no good reason. She has no why. So she's not really a good prospect. She really isn't in my pipeline. I don't even have her anywhere because one day she may buy, but I'm not counting on her to buy because she has no good reason to buy. So, anyways, when and why for every single person. If you can find that out, they have a why that you can always bring them back to, and you know when, then that's where you put them in your pipeline. So, this girl I just talked about a minute ago's when is August. So I know, okay, I need to talk to her in May, right? So that's how you build out your pipeline. And it may be like you can't control when they're going to do things, right? Or when it's going to be in their life that they're going to be ready. However, you can at least plan for it. If you know, come May, June, July, I have a lot of closings, but then August and September, I don't really have anybody that whose when is in October and September, whatever that looks like. Then you know the money that you make in those heavier months has to spread out to those months so that you can prepare for that. So I think that's something to just, Joe, that I would note is like you can't control their when. Oh, you said okay, thanks. You can't control their when, but you can prepare for having to stretch that money out. Yes.
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, okay. How much time would you say we should have from the time, I guess, before someone is actually ready to buy? Like, I'm trying to understand the timeline. I know you kind of explained previously. So, would you say 6 months prior to estimated closing, or like, what do you say? Like, how far out do we need to be preparing or helping someone buy? If you want the
Okay.
specific scenario, I can give you that.
Yeah, give me the specific scenario, but then I can answer it generally too.
Okay, so I have someone okay, so they weren't ready. They tried their own bank and they told them like they weren't ready to give them money basically. They wanted to try their own bank. I suggested, hey, we can try someone who focuses specifically on mortgage lending if you like. And so they renewed their lease for an additional 6 months. because they're still looking to buy. They just had to work on their credit a little more. So in 6 months, their lease is up. So at what point during that time, like, should we work on finding them something and getting them
Mm,
pre-approved and things like that?
okay. So 6 months from now,
Yes.
April, May, June, July, August, September. Okay. That's September. Personally, did they give them a plan of what they need to do to be ready in 6 months?
I believe it was something just about bringing their credit score up, and he's already done that. It's up to seven. I think he said 720 now.
Okay. So he's already renewed his lease, but he's done the work, so he'll be
Mhm.
okay, probably. So I would still tell him, hey, every bank and lender has different criteria and things they look at. So sometimes a local, just like regular bank may even have
Mhm.
higher interest rates than somebody who's like a broker, right? So who has options for them. So I would still tell him he needs to get a quote. Honestly, 2 months from now, I would start looking. So come March, April, May, come May, I would say, hey, let's get back with the lender and make sure that we can get you pre-approved, or that you've done everything you need to do, right? And then, oh, did she leave? I think she accidentally left because I was answering her question. I'll give her 2 seconds to get back on. So generally, like, I like to get them prepared as early as possible. And honestly, most people are ready before they think they're ready, right? So I'll just share this with you guys. If their lease is up in August, let's say it's up August 1st, then if they closed in, Courtney Staples, you'll know this too, so correct me if you think I'm wrong. If they closed mid-June, their first payment wouldn't be until August 1-ish, right? So they wouldn't really overlap. So they could still go under contract and then have some time where they don't have a mortgage and their um, rent. So there she is.
My phone died. Oh my gosh.
No, you're fine. Okay, Courtney thumbs up me, so I think she said I'm right. Okay, so one thing to note, Camelia, and for y'all to note too, when somebody has a timeline of, let's say, August, it's always going to be a little bit faster than they think. Time flies, right? And when you close on a mortgage, you don't make a payment like the second you close, right? So you're going to bring money to the closing table. You do have to have all that. But so let's say, Camelia, that they close mid-June.
Hmm.
They wouldn't have a payment July 1. Their first payment would be August 1st. So if they are leaving in August and they can pay their first mortgage in August to where there's no overlap, then that would mean that you could close. I mean, you could get under contract May 1st and
Mm.
write a closing date for mid-June, and they wouldn't have a
Mm.
payment until August. So truly,
Okay.
you can start looking in April, right?
Oh,
So the timeline kind of condenses when you're talking about like that, because, and ask whoever the lender is whenever they get with one, like, hey, if we close mid-June, when's their first payment? And they
okay.
can tell them like, oh, you won't make a first payment until August 1st. So that will make them more comfortable to go ahead and move forward with that, so that you can honestly have a little bit of wiggle room, because you don't want to be like, oh crap, I haven't found them a house and their lease is up and they're going to renew now.
Right.
Like, so go ahead and start looking and get them under contract for something they like, because it might take time. You start looking in
Okay.
April, it might take time to find them the house, and then that gives you some wiggle room, and you can say like, okay, even if we close July 1, you'll be able to move in or clean the house or paint the walls, whatever you want to do without having that payment.
Okay.
Um, Everyone rushes to buy before school starts, is what Courtney said.
Mm.
Yes. So if there's stuff's in August, then you may have more competition right then too. So
Okay.
tell them that. So yeah, that would be my biggest advice. Is it's always a little bit faster than you think. So honestly, 6 months is not that long in real estate.
Okay.
About
Thank
4 months
you.
out, you should start really shopping, and then 3 months out, you can start writing offers for a month or a month and a half away, and then you're just 2 months out, and you don't have a payment for a couple months. So um, I know that was a lot, but I would say until you're used to projecting those dates and knowing when their payment would truly be, ask a lender. Like, hey, if they're up in August, when could I write this to close? Like, when should we start looking? And get them to validate it so that you're not feeling rushed. Does that make sense? I used to do that all the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
I would just be like, hey, when should
That's
we
great.
close on this thing? So I would just call my lender all the time, like, hey, if they need to be in here by then, when can we close so that they don't have to pay double payment, so they're not paying a
Okay.
rent and mortgage kind of situation.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Let's see. Yes. Okay, cool. But yeah, so really, I'm probably gonna, well, I'll go down a little bit because it really kind of explains it. I kind of already did. But your goal is to capture as many leads with complete contact information as possible, right? And then connect with them. So connect with them. Says you're auditioning for the chance to be the representative, which is true. If you get their lead, how can you be helpful when you talk to them, right? Or connect with them in some way. Somebody or when I've met with all of you guys, actually, I think I've met all of you. I know I've met all of you, and um, I'm not just going to go straight into, like, obviously it's a little bit different for me because I'm bringing an agent, but if you were buying a house, I'm not going to go straight into the house. I'm going to say like, oh, okay, well, tell me a little bit about you. What is your life like? What is your, oh, you have a son? Oh, I have an 8-year-old son too. Like, try to connect with them on a personal level so that you feel human to them. So I know that connect is like obviously answer the phone as fast as possible, speed to lead quickly. However, when you do get in touch with them, like this is, I said it on the mastermind the other day, you're in the relationship business until somebody needs to buy or sell a house. So connect with them on some personal level, right? So that they're like, oh, okay, this person understands me. Like, if they go to the gym all the time. Like, oh, where do you go to the gym? Like, do you want to be close to that gym? Are you okay with not being close there? So just asking good questions so that they feel like you really care, right? And then, oh, look, 5 methods. I didn't even know that was next. 5 methods to establishing rapport. So mirror and matching, like what is their energy, right? If they're hyped up and super excited, then be super excited. If they're like, very calm, like I'm not in that big of a rush, then you can say, okay, cool. We don't have to rush anything, right? So mirror and matching them and their communication style honestly will help you connect with them on a personal level so that they feel like you understand them. And then exceed expectations and provide value. So if you tell them you're going to do something, do it. It sounds simple, but I will tell you guys, I don't always do it, right? When I said I'm going to send you guys this, and I am after we got this call, but I remembered that I didn't send the mastermind recap last week. So I didn't hit like you guys were expecting that, who got on that call, and I haven't sent it yet. So I missed an expectation already. And I know that. So I'm like, oh, I need to make sure I address that, right? I didn't mean to do it here, but I'm going to send that to you guys. And then providing value. So how can this is one other thing I like to tell people, or when I'm working with a buyer, right? Providing value isn't always finding them the perfect house. That's really not my job, right? You can look on social media and realtor.com and Zillow. You can see all the houses I could see on the MLS. My job is to make sure that you're making a good decision, that it's going to fit your lifestyle, and that you're going to be happy in this house. And what other value can I give this person, right? So what other, like, if they're new to the area and they're like, hey, I might say like, oh my gosh, well, have you ever had our barbecue? Like, I know that sounds crazy, but people love it, right? Like, okay, well, here's my top 3 barbecue places. If you're over there, you should totally try it. I had one couple who like went to every barbecue place I said while they were here for the weekend, like like looking for houses because they were like, oh yeah, we want to find the best barbecue place. So they just made a fun weekend of it while we were between houses, right? Or like when we weren't together, they would go to lunch and stuff. So little stuff like that. How can you make it personal and make them feel like you care about them? So providing value, obviously real estate wise, but then also just like them. How can you give them value? How can you make sure that, I said this last week on the mastermind too, like I had a couple relocating here she was pregnant and she was like, I'm so nervous about finding a doctor. And I'm like, oh, I'll give you my doctor, right? And here's my pediatrician. And so I'm pretty sure she used them, but even if she didn't, she would just be like, oh my gosh, that was so nice of you. Thank you. Right. So how can you mirror and match, find out their situation and how you can give them some kind of value? Um, Here is a buyer lead sheet. So the questions to kind of ask. And you do have this in PCX as well. So everybody on here has PCX. And making sure that you have a buyer lead sheet is super important just to make sure you get all those questions. One day you're going to internalize these things. You're not going to need a sheet to be real because I don't really use my sheet that much anymore. I just know the questions in my head. But this is more of a system, and you should probably don't do what I say, not what I do. um, and then close. So using the buyer lead sheet to get the appointment, right? And then if there's any objections, this is going to go through kind of like how to handle those, right? So if we were together, I would say pair up. But does anybody want to role play? I know that's a bold question. Does anybody want to be the buyer and I'll be the agent?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a script? I can probably hold on. Let me see if there's a script in here. Because there may be. Do do do. So this one doesn't have a script. I don't think. Capture, connect, defer objections, comply with. Okay. I'll be the agent and you guys can just listen. Okay. So you call me, or maybe I should call you. Which way do you think? Do y'all want me to role play where I'm making a phone call or
Yes.
where they call me? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's just say you're an open house lead. So I met you last summer at open house. Okay. Okay. So ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, is this Camelia?
Yes.
Hey, Camelia, this is Linda Crawford over at Keller Williams. How are you?
Oh, hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. I don't know if you remember me, but we actually met last summer at that house in East Memphis. Do you remember?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, that doesn't matter. Have you ended up buying a house yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, awesome. Are you guys still planning to buy?
We're still kind of looking.
Okay. Are you guys in a lease right now or?
Yes, we are.
Okay, cool. What part of town do you live in?
The 38117 East Memphis area.
Okay, awesome. Are you guys wanting to stay in that area? And when you buy?
Actually, yes, that'd be great for school reasons.
Okay. How old are your kids?
8 and 3.
8 and 3. Oh, I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, but I have one in the middle too. I don't know whose idea it was to have so many kids. So you see, breaking roll. I just connected with her a little bit, right? And okay, so 8 and 3, that's awesome. What school does your 8-year-old go to now?
Seattle.
Say one more time.
Seattle.
Seattle. Okay. Are you wanting to stay in that school district or just anywhere in East Memphis is fine?
That school district.
Okay, cool. So, when is your lease up?
We have about 4 months left.
Okay, cool. So 4 months left. Have you guys already been like looking at making sure that you're pre-approved or not yet? Or are you guys buying
Yes.
cash?
Well, yes, we did get pre-approved.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So I don't want to step on any toes. Are you working with anybody already to look for houses, or are you guys just kind of hitting up open houses?
We're just kind of going to open houses.
Okay, cool. So you're already pre-approved. Do you know how much what you're pre-approved for?
Yes, 400,000.
Okay, awesome. So 400,000 around then. Well, listen, what I would love to do is if you have some time, I don't know if you're free this weekend, but what I would love to do is just kind of walk you through the process. I know you're not working with anybody, but you're getting kind of close to that deadline.
That's
Honestly,
true.
4 months, it goes by so fast. And I may have some options too in Seattle coming up. Would it be worth like 30, 45 minutes for us to meet up and kind of just tell you about that and see if I can help you get into a house before your lease is up?
Actually, that's perfect. You're right. It'll come soon. So yes.
Yes. Boom. Okay. I mean, you could have, like, you didn't give me
Could have
any
gave you a hard
objections
time.
either, but you could have said, so if you had said, like, no, like, let's go back and say no.
Okay.
Like, oh,
Okay.
would it be worth your time to meet up this weekend and go, like, like, maybe can you and your husband come and meet me at Starbucks, whatever.
Okay. No.
Okay. That's totally fine. Can I ask why, like, who is going to help you through the process?
I'm not really sure if an agent is necessary.
Okay, I totally understand that. Or I can really appreciate that. I know sometimes, I mean, you can obviously chat GPT most of how to buy a house, right? Honestly, what I would love to do, Camelia, is, I mean, no obligation. You don't have to use me.
Hmm.
But I want to make sure that you know kind of what to expect. And if it makes sense for us to work together, then that's great.
Okay.
But if not, like, no harm, no foul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have some reasons as to why we should use an agent?
Well, I will tell you, even with an agent, it's a process. So what I would hate for you to do is get in the middle of it and kind of not know next steps. So even if you chat GPT'd it, honestly, things pop up still today that I don't expect, right? So, and so I have to handle those things, and I handle those things for my clients. Honestly, most of the time you probably wouldn't even know it happened.
Hmm.
Truly, I think that's the gift of it. And my job is to, as a buyer, my job is to negotiate it with the seller. So I can't guarantee it, but I would hope that if your objection is price, that honestly, I'm a very good negotiator. So I'll get that out of the seller and you won't have to worry about that.
Okay, that's a valid point. Negotiation. Okay,
Mhm.
I'll talk to my husband about
Okay, cool. Let's meet on Saturday at Starbucks, whatever. Um,
it.
so yeah, I guess. I don't know if I handled that correctly, but I just handled it.
Yeah.
So y'all can handle it however you want, and I may not have been perfect on the phone or whatever. But oh, thank you, Casey. Um, and sometimes, honestly, even if I was a little hesitant or I didn't have a great answer, she doesn't know that it's not a great answer, right? Like, she just heard me say it very confidently. Like, so, remember that too, right? That the consumer doesn't necessarily know the what would have been a better answer, right? So, as long as you sound confident and you're like, no, we need to meet. And if she says no, like, okay, that's cool. Well, listen, I know if she kept saying no, I'd be like, look, that's totally fine. What I'll do is it okay if I just call you back in a couple weeks and just see how everything is going? Right? So if she like kept giving me objections, you could have just said like, I'll just stay in touch, no pressure, right? Because you don't want anyone to ever think that you're have commission breath, right? That's the last thing that we want. Um, because I mean, for obvious reasons. You don't want people to, that's not what you're here for, right? You're here to guide them. And you don't, I want you guys to say this to yourselves over and over um, is like, I don't need the commission, that client needs me, right? I don't need the client needs me. So say that to yourself over and over. I don't need a client, a client needs me because that is true. I say to myself, I say that to myself about agents all the time. Like, I don't need agents. Agents need me, right? So, do I need to grow agents? Yes, but um, I know that I have value to give agents, and the agents who want to be here, right, and who are growth minded, I have value to give them. So I don't need agents. Agents need me. And so, anyways, I just say that to myself sometimes. And so say that to yourself, like they don't understand the real estate market, right? Or they don't understand what's going on because they're not in it every day. They don't get to come to classes like this, and it's not their job to know the market. It's your job to know the market. So just that's a good affirmation is I don't need clients. Clients need me. Joe said, I love the idea of reminding them that you're not obligated to meet with me. I think that shifts their mindset that way from thinking we have commission breath. And then good. Thank you. Um, yeah, like no pressure, no obligation. It doesn't bother. I don't need to be with you, but I know I can help you, right? If you need help. Um, but anyways, I don't even know what time it is. Does anybody else have anything, like questions or scenarios you want to go through? Okay. Javon said, in my experience, when I purchased my home, the realtors rushed me. What do you say about that? I actually found my own house. To me, I felt like I did his job. Ooh, that's an experience. Did they rush you through the process or like trying to make you buy quickly? You can answer in the chat if you can't unmute. Buy quickly. I would say that realtor probably, well, I don't want to say didn't have your best interest because that's not necessarily true. They were just probably trying to hurry up the process. I'll say don't be like that, right? So what I would say if somebody's told me that, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like my job, I don't care when you buy, right? When do you want to buy? Right. So how can you, if somebody gave me that objection, I would say, well, when do you want to buy? And if they say October, I'll say, okay, cool. So if you don't want to, they don't want to feel rushed, right? It's like what I'll do is I'll just start sending you some houses that fit your criteria. And I would say too, like, I'm gonna be honest, Javon, my job is not to find houses anymore. Like, so, like, you can find houses all day. And I tell people that, like, I promise you, you are more interested in your home purchase than I will ever be. You're going to be looking at Zillow and Realtor every single time a house pops up in the zip code you want. You're going to click on every single notification. So you may be looking at houses 24/7. You may be up in the middle of the night scrolling, right? Looking for houses. I'm going to look once a day for you. So where my job comes in, yeah, I like that you remind them of what our role is, not to find the house, to make sure they're informed decision, negotiate, and get them to closing. Yeah, like that's exactly it. It's like, oh, yeah, you're right. You're probably, and I tell people that in my consultations, like, honestly, you're probably going to find the house that you like before I do, right? So I'm going to do, if I see a house that I think this one he'll love, then I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to text it to you directly. I'm going to set you up on a campaign so that you get those automatically. But then really what you're hiring me for is to make sure that you're making a good decision, right? So, is the house in good shape? If there are repairs, that's where I come in, right? I if it's overpriced, I'm gonna make sure that we look at comps and make sure that that you're not paying more than you need to pay. So my job is not anymore, like the internet kind of took that part of our job away, honestly. So because you can find a house all on your own. That's not my job. My job is to make sure that you make a great decision, that you don't walk into anything you're not prepared for, that you get the financing that you're there for, and honestly, you get the result that you need. So if and truly, like, if you tell me your monthly payment, let's just hypothetically, I once had somebody who this lender said this person can buy whatever they want, right? They had great jobs, they had no debt. They were like, he could buy a $2 million house if they wanted. They wanted to buy a $500,000 house, right? So I was like, okay, cool. So we're looking at $500,000 houses. I didn't push them out of their price range that they told me, right? So keep that in mind too. Like, be an advocate for what your client wants. So if your client told you, I don't want to go over this price range, don't. Now, some of them might do it themselves. Like I've had people tell me 750 and then buy $1 million house, but I didn't send them that $1 million house. They sent it to me. And I was like, oh, well, you told me 750. Are you sure you want to, like, I don't want to go against what you told me. Are you okay with going that high? Like, oh, yes, we love this house, right? So always be an advocate for what they want and always know that, like, you don't want to, you are not, I know you're Keller Williams agents. You're not the type of person who's going to force somebody for a commission or rush somebody for a commission. You find out their timeline and go off that. So anyways, this is a really good call, guys. So does anybody else have any questions? Or Javon, did that answer your question? Yes? Okay, cool. Perfect. Yes. Awesome, awesome. Okay, I will send you guys that list of like the lenders and what I use them for. That way you have that. And just so you know kind of what I use, but obviously do your own homework too and make sure that you meet people and build out your vendor program and call the people if you want to and, and vet them. Sorry, guys, I have hiccups. But I will talk to you guys soon. Enjoy your spring break. Good, thank you. Go have conversations and figure out, are they ready, willing, and able right now, or do you need to put them into something to cultivate them so that eventually, when they are ready, willing, and able, you can push them, through the process. So, oh, thanks, Terrence. I will talk to you guys soon. Y'all all have my phone number, I believe. So call me if you need anything at all. But I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Hey, Linda.
Oh
Hey, I wanted to see, I needed to get with you, still needed help with that CMA I text you about.
yeah.
This
Oh
is
yeah.
Shaquita.
Yes. Sorry, I see you. So did you figure out? You said there's a price. We can go ahead and go through it right now. I have a couple minutes.
Okay.
And y'all can listen in if you want. So you're looking at comps, and
Mm-hmm.
you said that it has a huge range.
Yeah, there was like a house that sold for like 20,000, and then there was one for like one something, and then there was one for like two something, and I was like,
Okay.
I
So
don't
what?
know.
I'm not going to answer it for you because I want you to think through it. What do you think about the comps? Why do you think they're so far apart?
I think that like the two something house looks completely fully like it almost look brand new. Whereas the 20 something house looks like, somebody's gonna have to put some work into it.
Okay. So I want you to think of this word. I'm not like babying you. I think you're gonna figure it out. So I know you can do it. When you hear the word comparable, what does that
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Like similar, like they're kind of the same.
Yes. So I want you to find the houses that actually are comparable to the house that you're looking at. If it's falling
Okay.
down, if the house isn't falling down, then those ones go away.
Okay.
The house isn't completely renovated, those ones go away. Find the houses that are closest to it that have the most similarities. Like maybe they're the same square footage and about the same
Mm-hmm.
year and about the same condition. So that's kind of what you're looking at is like age, condition, and square footage, truly. So,
Age
um,
condition squared. Okay.
yeah. So if it ain't falling down, those ones go away. If it's not brand new, those ones go away. Um, Terrence said, always do it by the neighborhood as well. I did it by zip code starting out and was overwhelmed. Yeah, as close
Yeah.
as possible. So he's right. Like if there were sales in that neighborhood, then go off that and then expand out if you can't find anything comparable. So start small and work your way
Okay.
out so that you're not like, okay, there's way too many, right? So if let's say you're looking at a neighborhood and there's nothing to compare it to, then widen it a little bit, right? Widen it
Mm-hmm.
a little bit.
How
I
do you
usually go by
widen
like
that?
map code. If you go into MAR data, there's like a map code. It'll be like, 7
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
D.
saw that. Yeah.
So the D makes it more specific. So when you go to look, you can do 754D, and if you take away that D, it'll be just 754, and that'll widen it a tiny bit, right? So, or the map code, it'll bring it out.
Okay.
Or you can there's something on there called radius. And you can widen it to like half a mile radius or a mile or 5 miles or, kind of legitimately open up the radius of what's
Okay.
sold recently.
I did it by zip code, and it did give me like 5 of them. And that's why I was just like, but the range was so big. That's
All
why I
over
was
the
like, I
place.
don't know. Yeah.
So yeah, if there's only two that are comparable in the whole zip code,
Mm-hmm.
then
Open it
use
up.
those two. Yeah, I mean, no, use
Okay.
those two because you
Oh,
don't want
you
to go
chose
like
you. Okay.
you can't compare 38120 to 38111. I don't know, 38017 or
Okay.
you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
because she has done a lot of renovations to the house.
Yeah.
It don't look like
Sorry, I
brand
was trying to think
new.
about what the zip codes. 38017 is like Collierville. So truly, like you couldn't compare East Memphis to Collierville. So you don't want to widen it too much. Just find any, like if you can find, even if it's only a couple comparables,
Okay.
and that's okay. You just want to make sure it's super comparable and more and recent. That's another criteria that you want to make sure you look at
Yeah.
is that it was
Recent.
recent.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's from 5 years ago during COVID, that's not a comparable, right? So
Right.
I go as close to right now as possible just because it should be the same kind of market
Okay.
time frame. Terrence, did you want to say something? You're unmuted.
Well, I was gonna ask again, like, so like sometimes I'll look at the neighborhood, but I'm still having a hard time figuring out how to like expand it out without going into registered of deeds and finding an address in another neighborhood. So what was that easy way you said just to kind of expand it out while you're looking at the
So
CMAs?
when you're looking at Paragon,
Hmm.
I can actually pull it up for you guys. So I'll show you on. Doo-doo-doo. Hmm. And Wheezy has a comps class tomorrow, guys, just so y'all know. Tennessee. And you can come even if you're in Mississippi. Is that tomorrow? Hold on. Let me double check. Yep, comps class tomorrow from 1 to 2:30. So if you're not super strong in comps, then it's here at the office tomorrow, 1 to 2:30. Wheezy doesn't do Zoom because she's old school, so you do have to
Oh
come.
man, I gotta go to orientation tomorrow.
That's okay. She does them once a month.
Okay.
But if you can come. So anyways, okay, let's do search. Can y'all see my screen?
It's really
Yes.
little.
Okay, hold on.
I don't know how to make it.
Can y'all see it? Okay.
It's like the way mine is showing, it's got you on one side and then the screen on the other side. I don't know.
Oh, I might have done that. Hold on. Let me do. Is that better?
No, it's still the same on my phone. Is it just me?
Hold on. I may have done it in Zoom because I did hit something
I can
crazy.
see it full screen, but
Oh, okay, good.
It's me.
Okay, so go to search. You're gonna go to residential, right? And you can do a map search here. Up here where it says criteria, you can do map search. And so let's say let's just do my own house because I know that address by heart. Okay, so here it is, right? So here is, do you see this little dotted line?
yep.
Well, that's not it. Hold on. There's like a little magnifying glass. Okay, there's that. Draw. Here we go. So you can do a radius. And I can draw a radius. So like, okay, I only want to do this radius, right? So, and it'll tell me, you can do a search mile radius, like of just like half a mile up here, right? And it'll show me within half a mile what am I looking at.
Nice.
Mine is not a good example because I kind of in a rural area. But if this was like High Point or a neighborhood or area with neighborhoods, you can do within a half a mile or within a mile or whatever, and just kind of increase this little
Okay.
bit.
Sweet. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. And I have one more question. How do you
Okay.
come up with the numbers for the comp since I'm gonna miss a class up tomorrow?
No, you're good.
Um,
So I would go off of the ones that are most comparable to your house, right? So even if there's only a couple, um,
oh, I'm sorry. I meant like the adjustments. Like if one house has one bedroom, another one has another bedroom. Like there was a part on the CMA where it was like asking to put in like adjustments, and I
mhm.
didn't know how to come up with those numbers. I wasn't sure.
Great question. I don't want to give you an answer because I might be wrong. I'll tell you like what I do. But um, did you watch the comps video in PCX?
I don't
Only a few
remember
minutes
one.
long.
Okay,
Go
I
to
can go try to find it out. There was like I went through the CMA part, but it
yeah, pretty much.
one of the it was blank. Like it was like put together an example one and it was nothing there.
Oh, gotcha. Um, well, anyways, okay, so maybe try to I would Google it, and that way you know it's a good answer. And like ChatGPT it, what would an appraiser do? Because really, the appraisers take away value and add value based on square footage, size, bedrooms,
Hmm. Okay.
garages, things like that. Um,
Okay.
like me personally, like for a garage, I add like $10,000, right? But I
Hmm.
don't know if that's 100% like the number to tell you because
Right.
uh, it's all kind of subjective. And honestly, Shaquita, this is what I honestly, your spelling of your name trips me out because if my eyes are closed, I know how to say your name, but when I read it, I
I
can't
know
say it.
everybody thinks it's
I'm like, I
like
know
with the
Shay
name.
Shaquita, and then I read it and I'm like, anyways, my brain messes it up. So I lost my train of thought.
You were
Um, Oh,
saying,
one thing to do too, and so I think with this situation, she doesn't know what the value is at all.
mm-mm.
But for everyone else, when you're like, honestly, what I do is I have a number in my head when I run comps, but before I say my number, I'm asking my client, what do you think your house is worth? Because
Okay.
if they are here and I'm here, I ain't saying this number without telling them why or explaining myself before I ever say the number, right?
Okay.
So, or maybe telling them like, "Oh, really? You think up here? Why?" And then getting them to talk themselves down to where I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because if you say, they say, "Okay, well, how much do you think my house is worth?" And you say, "Oh, 300," and they're like, "I wanted 450." Like you're gonna be like, "Oh,"
Mm,
like you just shot
right.
yourself in the foot, right? So,
Okay.
how much do they want out of the house? How much do they need a net? How much do they think it's worth? Because I promise you, just like I said about researching for a buyer. So a lot of times, like the buyer's going to find their own house because they need a house and they're looking all day, every day for just that person. If we're working with a bunch of people, you're not looking all day, every day just for Melvin, right? Like, so when they want to sell their house, I promise you, they've been looking for the last 6 months of every sale that's happened anywhere near them. So they have an idea in their head,
Okay.
right? So I'm like, I never flinch first. I'm not telling them a price without them telling me what they want. And that way I know how to
That
handle
makes
the
sense.
conversation.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Okay. Thank
All right,
you.
y'all. Yeah, that was just impromptu comps class. So, um, if anybody needs anything else, let me know. Um, and I will see you guys soon. So, call me if you guys need me, okay?
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Bye.
Bye.